Hello everyone, Jesse right here with youcouldbe.com, and in today's video we're going to be talking about protecting your rental property. Alright guys, so in this video we're going to talk about protecting your rental property, and this is a follow-up to a video I made about a year and a half ago called Rehabbing Your First Rental Property. And while we're going to cover some of the things that were mentioned in that video, we're going to go in a lot more detail about securing your property. And it's not really going to be about anything other than securing your property. So if you're interested in seeing something that's a little bit more about the workflow of rehabbing a property, then I'll go ahead and post a link in the description so you can watch that video as well. But in this video, we're specifically talking about securing and protecting your property from burglars and so on and so forth. So the first thing you want to think about is that your property is much more likely to be broken into or vandalized when it's vacant. And the best thing that you can do to protect that property is to get it fixed up and have a tenant living there as soon as possible. So, you know, some of the things that we talk about are going to be geared more towards, you know, keeping the property safe and, you know, protecting it from burglars when the tenant is living in there. But a lot of this has to do more so with those first 30 days when you're actually rehabbing it and trying to get it rent ready. The next thing you need to realize is that there's only so much that you can do. If somebody wants to get in, if somebody really wants to break into your house that badly, they can literally just take a sledgehammer and beat a hole through the wall and they'll get in. So what you're really trying to do is deter them. You don't want to give them a reason to break in. You don't want to leave your windows open. You don't want them to be able to see a bunch of tools inside your property. You don't want them to even know that a rehab is going on. At the end of the day, all of these are just ways to deter people from breaking into your property. So that being said, before you ever buy this house, you want to take a good look around. You want to see how well you're going to be able to protect it. You know, is it in a well-lit area? Does it have security lights? If it doesn't, how easy would it be to install security lights? Is it on a well-lit road? Is there a path going through from the front yard, through the backyard, to the street behind it? Is there a fence that goes all the way around it? And some of those things are going to help you decide if this is even a property you want to invest in. If there's a path running through it and it doesn't have a fence, then you might not want to buy that property. If it does have a fence but there's still a path running through it, then it might just be a matter of repairing that fence, putting a gate up, things like that. Think about, well, if I wanted to break into this house, what would I do? You know, how would I get in? Would I take a crowbar and try to pry the door? Would I, you know, are any of the burglar bars rusted? You know, would it be easy to break those? Can you break the joints where they were welded together? Think like that and then work backwards from there. Other than a window or a door, the two most common places that I see burglars break into vacant houses, the first one would be AC units, which I guess technically that is a window, but what people don't realize is they think, oh, well, there's an AC window or unit in this window, so no one's going to get in. There might even be bars around this AC unit, but for some reason when they put these cages around these AC units, they don't put bars underneath, you know, on the bottom side of that cage oftentimes, and so they'll literally remove the condenser from the AC unit and then they'll pop the front face off of the AC and they can just climb right through that AC unit, and I see that a lot. The other thing that I see is you often have, you know, a main house and then you have a carport, and on this carport there's a laundry room. Now the only way to get into this laundry room is to actually walk outside onto the carport and then go through the door, but that laundry room is usually connected to a kitchen, and oftentimes these laundry rooms are unfinished, so it's literally just, you see the framing, you see the studs for the walls, and then you see the drywall on the kitchen side, but no drywall on the inside of the laundry room. And so guys will literally just take a hammer and break through the drywall, and they'll go right through the kitchen, and then they're in the house. So you want to make sure that you secure those laundry rooms along with the rest of the house, and that's something that goes unnoticed a lot, and a lot of people get a lot of grief because they didn't think about that. So like I said before, you're going to want to make sure that you don't give them any reason to break in. So typically I start out, I buy blinds almost immediately, and I put it up all throughout the house. I mow the lawn. If there are any kind of broken windows, then I'm going to repair all of those. And I'm not really going to get into that too much, but you should do a little bit of research on the broken windows theory. They've found that crime rates drop drastically when they go into neighborhoods and they just do simple repairs and clean up the neighborhood a little bit and don't allow things like broken windows to sit for long periods of time. I think that there's a lot of truth to that theory. I don't buy houses if there's a vacant house right next to it, especially if it's falling apart. I'm going to clean up. I'm never going to let a bunch of building materials sit out in the carport or in the driveway. I'm going to get those removed as soon as possible. I'm never going to leave my tools laying around. And really, I'm just trying to make it look like there's someone there, or at the very least that someone is coming and visiting the house several times a day, so people will be less likely to try and sneak in because they don't know if they're going to get caught. Now, as far as your burglar bars goes, you're going to want to have security doors and burglar bars on all of the windows. You do not want to use the cheap aluminum burglar bars that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart. You want good, solid steel, probably custom welded burglar bars. And those are very expensive if you get them made new or made custom for your house. But what I do, as a matter of fact, this Sunday I'm actually going to buy just a lot of used welded steel burglar bars. I just kind of watch out for them on Craigslist, and if you do it that way, you can get them anywhere from free to $20 for a set of good solid burglar bars. And if you're going to be doing this long term, then you're just going to start gathering this stuff, because even if you don't have a particular need for it right now, you're going to have a house in the future that you'll probably be able to use these bars for. And so you start accumulating some of these things, and as you need it, you use it, and that really cuts down on your rehab costs later on down the road. Because if you're buying in a lot of these neighborhoods that I buy in, then these are things you absolutely need. For Section 8, and really just for safety in general, all of the bedrooms that have bars on them, they need a way for the tenant to get out of those rooms. They need some sort of a hinge on them, and they need some sort of a lock. Now, I prefer to put deadbolts that require a key, and then just put the key somewhere a little bit further inside, away from the window, so that a burglar can't see that there's any kind of a key on the wall. But Section 8 will not usually let you do that. Section 8 wants a deadbolt that you can twist, and then you can open up those bars. And the problem with that is, if a burglar knows that you have that type of deadbolt, he can literally reach in and just flip the knob, or flip the lock, whatever that is. And so if you absolutely have to have that setup, then you need some sort of a mesh, a wire mesh, to go over top of those bars, so he can't easily stick his hand in there and flip it around. Now, that being said, even then he can stick a Allen wrench or something like that inside that mesh, oftentimes, if it's large enough, and he can flip the lock that way. So you're going to want a nice size metal plate where that lock is, that's long enough that it will be hard for him to get in there and flip that lock open. And it is an added security measure if you either A, know how to weld, or B, want to take your security bars to a welder. You can actually put a door that flips open or closed on that lock, so even if they could reach their hand in around those bars, they would have to break the window in order to open that door, in order to flip that latch. Also, when you install your deadbolts, there's two screws when you install these deadbolts, and if you screw them really tightly, sometimes it's pretty hard for you to turn that lock. So if someone was inside the house and there was a fire, they would definitely be able to twist it and it would open. But if a burglar were trying to reach his hands through the outside and twist it, it would be a lot more difficult. So at the very least, you're going to want to really crank down on those screws really good, and that might help a little bit. Something else that a lot of people do, and I'm not necessarily condoning it, but I'm not necessarily saying don't do it, is they'll put deadbolts that you twist to unlock in for their HUD inspections or their Section 8 inspections, and then as soon as they pass the inspection, they'll just swap them out for a deadbolt that uses a key, and they'll put a hook right next to the window with a key on it, and that way the tenant is totally safe, but it's going to be really hard for those burglars to get in. And really, to be honest with you, I think that's the way that it should be anyway, because you're not just trying to protect your tenant from a fire, you're trying to protect them from a burglar or somebody like that as well. So the next thing that I think about is lighting. I want the whole surrounding area to be well lit. I might get some security lights that are motion sensitive. And you don't have to have the electricity cut on to use these. They have battery powered security lights from Walmart that you can literally just put at every single window, at every single door, all the way around the house. And if somebody goes to your house in the middle of the night and a light just all of a sudden pops on and they've got their tool bag or whatever it is that they have, they're going to be a lot less likely to continue trying to break into that house. I also, in the high crime neighborhoods, will use a company called Simple Safe. And Simple Safe is an alarm system that doesn't require a contract. So if you want the full system where they call the police and they notify you, it uses a 3G or 4G network, so you don't have to have any kind of internet set up in order to use it, and it's, I believe, $20 a month. You can put those sensors on all the doors and windows. They got some motion sensors as well, and it's got a very loud siren. Actually, they have two different sirens that you can choose from, and you're definitely going to want to go with the louder one. But if somebody does break in, usually that siren is all that you would need in order to get them to leave. Sometimes with the more stupid ones, it's not. So you might want to go a step further and actually pay the $20 a month. But I typically just use the siren. I don't sign up for the service, and it's done pretty well for me. Now, if you really want to take it a step further, you can go ahead and invest in a no contract internet service to come out, and you can get Arlo. Arlo is a type of security camera. What I like about it is that it is magnetic, it's wireless, so you put these little bases, you put them on the ceiling in different places or just wherever you want them, and the camera has a magnet in it, and you can move the camera easily from one area to another, and it just kind of sticks to that magnetic mount. And it's a two-way audio camera, so in addition to seeing whoever is around your house and hearing who's around your house, you can actually talk to them, and you can let them know, hey, I see you on camera and you need to get off my property because the police are on their way. And I think it's around $550 for a set of 4 cameras. It might be 6 cameras. So it's a little bit of an investment, but what you're going to do is you're going to set it up during your rehab, and then when you leave, you're going to take it down and you're going to use it on your next rehab. And the last thing that I would say, even though I don't do this, I know a lot of people that do it, and it works really well. I'm not really a dog person, but I know a lot of investors that they have pit bulls or American bulldogs or Rottweilers or Malinois or something like that. And what they'll do is, if it's a house dog, they'll actually put 1 or 2 of these dogs in the house. Or if it's not a house dog, they'll put 3 or 4 dogs in the backyard, or just around the entrances. And that is, those people typically never have problems with burglars and vandals. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but if that is an option for you, you might want to consider it. I've never done it, so it's more just of a little side note for me, but it is worth considering. And that's it for this video, guys. Look, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe and share it in your favorite groups on Facebook. And if you have any questions for me, please drop me a comment below. And if I think I can help, I might even make a video about that comment. So I will see you guys in the next video.